What's going on, boys? Welcome back to the channel. We are going to dive right in to the actual Epstein files themselves. So no Twitter screenshots that may or may not be real. We are just going to scroll through it ourselves and see what we can find. So we are... What else is around that kind of time period? Let's go one before, actually.
I want to see someone who already has the information available. Okay, I think this is good one.
We at Sidebar have been buried in the latest release of the Epstein files, all 3.5 million of them. And when it comes to Epstein's life, the emails, those especially contain the bad, the ugly, the downright disturbing. So I want you to join us as we go through 17 of some of the grossest emails we've seen so far. But this is not just smut. They are very important in the overall story and a legal context. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
He was freaky deaky.
I know this is a little bit of a 180, but I gotta say it. Guys out there, gotta take care of your skin. But I know it's like a whole big routine. Nobody has time for it. That's why I have to tell you about oil. So important, they're so compelling, partly because they're really hard to deny. Yeah, we live in a day and age of AI, but as of right now, it is very hard to say that you didn't send or receive certain emails. Sure, people make the claim, the defense, oh, someone else had access to my phone, someone else had access to my computer. But for purposes of this discussion, can we just assume that these emails were sent or received by Epstein? And especially with Epstein, you're talking about emails from years ago. So we have to assume they came from him or were sent to him. And here's the big part.
Is there a possibility that this can be faked? Everything here was faked. Yes, there's always a possibility that something. There's always a possibility of something. Do I think it was fake? I don't think it was fake, but I think people who are running under the skepticism, like they can rightfully run under that skepticism that it's not real. Because at the end of the day, this is crazy information that everyone wants to live in their own bubble. So I don't really blame anyone for living in a bubble, but at that point, you just need to know. At some point, you just need to know. You gonna let the bubble burst, or you gonna die with the bubble? It's as simple as that.
As I go through 17 or so of some of the most disgusting and disturbing emails in this files release, this is a preview of what his trial could have looked like. If he didn't die in his jail cell in August of 2019, I mean, by all accounts, he was set to go to trial on federal charges of sex trafficking of minors. And the emails, I have to imagine, this would have been presented by prosecutors to a jury. Emails can help prove intent, agreement, mutual understanding, planning, timeline, especially since he was charged with sex trafficking and conspiracy. So these are key elements. So as we go through these emails, it's not about smut, it's not about sensationalism. I want to try to provide some larger context to this as well. And by the way, to just go back to how disgusting all of this was, right? They talk so much about the high-profile players, the conspiracy theories. Yeah. We've gotten into that. But just let's remember who we're talking about, Jeffrey Epstein, okay? And I think these emails kind of give a good insight into his mindset, his behavior. And I'm going to warn you right now, these are very difficult to listen to as I read them, but again, gives you insight into this twisted and disturbed world.
People say the Clintons have like a heavy relation to this whole thing. Well, you know what? I haven't looked into it so far.
Again, these were the emails that were released pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act, the law that required the DOJ, the Department of Justice, to turn over all of the Epstein investigatory materials in its possession. So let's start here. How about this email from March 11th, 2014 to Jeffrey Epstein? Thank you for a fun night. Your little girl was a little naughty. I think this...
What the fuck? What the fuck? I feel like with all of this, we need to cross-reference this, but...
email kind of sets the tone, doesn't it, right? We don't know who it's from, but it's redacted, but all the way back in 2014, after...
If I can. Thank you for a fun night, you little girl. Let me just type that. This will be... what do I have in type up? Can I find it? Thank you for a fun night. Okay. Thank you for a fun night. Thank you for a fun night. Thank you. I can't find that one. Maybe it's just not here. I don't think maybe all of them weren't poured over. I just realized maybe like everything wasn't poured over to Gmail. And it's on I think it's the DOJ's website. It was a lot of fun today. I miss you. What did you say? Well, you know what?
We don't know who it's from, but it's redacted, but all the way back in 2014, after he already pled guilty to Florida state charges of solicitation of prostitution and of solicitation of prostitution with a minor under the age of 18, sentenced to 18 months in a minimum security facility. It's the sweetheart deal. So people knew what he was about, and they still hung out with him. And there's always a question of why. What were they getting in return? And an email like this, sure, do we know the whole context of it? No. Do we know if this is a joke? No. But given what we know about Epstein, what he was accused of, this email kind of, you put two and two together. I would say this would be a key piece of evidence in a case against him regarding the sexual abuse of minors. And it's emails like this that get people very angry when they say, how is it possible no one else was prosecuted? You know, who knew? Who participated? True. Is there enough evidence in the document released to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt? Many legal analysts say no. And the DOJ and the FBI released a statement over the summer saying there was no one else to prosecute based on these files. But an email like this, very concerning on multiple levels. How about this one? September 14th, 2014, almost 9 in the morning, Jeffrey Epstein wrote, "Not a good idea for you to come today. Too many wash people think you look too young." And then this response back, okay. Yeah, that wouldn't be great for Epstein at trial. I don't know if he meant this person is really an adult and they look young, or in fact, this person is a minor, but it kind of goes to a knowledge component, right? There was this case against him. There is a minor, but it kind of goes to really, wash people think you look too young. And then this response back, okay. Yeah, that wouldn't be great for Epstein at trial. I don't know if he meant this person is really an adult and they look young, or in fact, this person is a minor, but it kind of goes to a knowledge component, right? There was this case against him. There was an understanding of what he might have been up to. That's consciousness of guilt in a way. He knows that. It's very, very disturbing. How about this one? This is from Jeffrey Epstein on April 29th, 2009. The subject line is, "You have received a flip video." So this is the days before iPhones. He writes, "How old is this one?" And the response at 8:38 a.m., 19. Epstein writes back, "Bring it to New York, please." And then the email back to Epstein is, "She is arriving next week." How old?
There's no way. Bring it. Bring it. They don't even see these youths as people. They don't see them as people. I mean, bro, this is like a shepherd and a sheep. I feel like the relationship these guys have with these victims, it's a shepherd and their sheep. That's what the relationship they think they have with their victims. They tell the sheep to come wherever they want. They get their sheep from other shepherds. They exchange the sheep.
And then the email back to Epstein is, "She is arriving next week." How old is this one? Yeah. Now, the idea of bringing her there, arriving, it goes to this alleged systematic, procedural nature of bringing girls and women into his orbit, right? Whether it's a crime or not, whether it was used at trial or not. Yeah, I could have seen prosecutors using this maybe. But I got to say this too, whether it was used at a criminal case or not, just some of this is so nauseating, which, by the way, is why we didn't make this 100 disgusting emails from Jeffrey Epstein files. I don't want you to have to vomit. But here you go. I got some more I got to show you. This is from August 11th, 2009. Again, like right after he pled guilty. It's right in this time frame. This is from Jeffrey Epstein. "It would be nice if when I asked you to rub my head or my feet, you actually did it for more than 10 minutes without thinking about something else." The response from this person is, "I thought I did. Sorry, my new must have distracted me." And Epstein writes back, "Your apology is accepted. In this instance, I can't say you were distracted by very little." And look, we know prosecutors said that massages were the instrument to begin and facilitate abuse. Whether this person was an adult or not, it's just gross. But it continues, like how about this one, from Jeffrey Epstein to a redacted person, we don't know who it is, August 2nd, 2015 at 5:30. Now that I understand, try to take some nude photos. Be open, brave, sexy, wild, dance, jump, have fun, live. The response back to that is, okay, I asked my friend, so she will take some sexy photos tonight or tomorrow. This message from Epstein, I think you should take some yourself first. Now I want you to be free with yourself. First, I think you should study English, go online. There are many classes, then take the TOEFL test. The photos should not be porn, but should be sexy. Do you watch porn? For example, you want to be free without being porn, but laugh, have fun. You are going to be 22, not 14 years old.
What?
How about this one? This is to Jeffrey Epstein. It isn't easy for a Teletubby to look sexy. I will go before I go out and take some XXXXX. And by the way, this is in response to what Jeffrey Epstein.
This nigga was so freaky, man. I don't get, bro. This nigga was so freaky. I don't get. Most of the people he's talking to in these emails, I think they have to be of age, right? Like, I think, well, obviously, I'm not saying that he's not dabbling in minors, but I feel like every time a minor is referenced in this or part of this, it's more like them convening with each other about the minors they want. Diddy was meant to be, man, and Diddy was meant to be. Yeah, exactly. Well, Diddy was meant to be the crazy one. This guy is on, bro. He's prestige master. He's can't stop, won't stop. Bro, can't stop, won't stop. Doesn't think he should stop. He's lost it all. He's easy for I don't know if like. To be fair, I don't even know what he means by this. Like, some of this is just like, I'm out the loop, or the redactions are just messing with my mind because it's redacted in such a way that I can't understand, like, the connection in this. It isn't easy for a Teletubby to look sexy. I'll go to if I take some XXX drugs. Let's just assume it's drugs, but the redactions, well, whoever redacted this done this well. Because the sentence from the start to the redaction would make sense if you had the redaction there. So since you have a redaction right in the center, it just destroys everything in this sentence line. And then, thanks for your help. Send photos of you and sexy would be appreciated. It destroys what's happening in, like, it destroys it's such like a simple, these are simple words they're probably just taking out, but it just destroys the correlation. It's crazy.
Had written, thanks for your help. Send photos of you and sexy would be appreciated. How about this one? Unfortunately, is now ingrained in my mind. I'm going to have to be careful how I say it. And he's really quite blunt. This is Saturday, August 15th, 2015, 11:05 p.m. Take a selfie of your bleep and send. I think you know what he's referring to, a private area of a woman. The response back, writing to Jeffrey Epstein, I'm sorry, I was a little bit lost when you asked me about sex and what I want to try with you. As you know, I am a virgin, so I know nothing about sexual life and cannot answer you. What I know, I want to try sex because I maybe will feel more confidence. Sometimes I think I am too shy for modeling. You are attractive for me, and that's why I told you why not. I think an argument could be made.
Okay, this... Okay, this is just this nigga. I don't know. This is just this nigga's. You know those niggas who just randomly just send you like, oh yeah, send nudes. Like, so everyone has a friend who just loses their mind every so often and just ask a girl for nudes. This is what's happening here. This is. It doesn't rank him out the sickest thing that this nigga has done. To be fair, like, this is.
Maybe this is somebody who is not from the United States, kind of like broken English. There's this one from Jeffrey Epstein
That's
to
that.
somebody, redacted,
Something
April
to do with
22nd,
foreign
2012. Make sure you take some form of antibiotic for the bleep, Cleocin or some such. You've had many bleeps in just a few weeks. He's referring to male genitalia, that she's been having a lot of sex. So the response back is, Jeffrey, I am a clean freak. I contact my doctors for every little thing, not so many, always the same, and always with condom. We'll take a test. That's always useful. I'm a bit surprised to see these messages. He responds back, I only want good for you. Now, you could see prosecutors maybe saying that this person was used by Jeffrey Epstein, right? Outsourcing her to different men, right? How would he know that she was with so many?
Okay, so let's rank up this nigga's top charges. Espionage, conspiracy. There's going to be a conspiracy charge in one of these. Espionage, conspiracy, potentially terrorism. If this nigga's caught to be a Mossad agent, like people are alleging he is, terrorism is very up high on that list. And conspiracy, treason, high treason at that. I don't think we have high treason anymore in any country, but I'm just, you know what I mean by high treason. Like there's treason and there's high treason. Treason, not racketeering has to do with guns, so not racketeering. If I'm wrong about that, it might be a racketeering charge. We need to get this nigga on a RICO. Yeah, he's dead, but I think we can revive him for RICO at this point. Get him for a RICO charge, and then after pimp, he's a pimp as well. Okay. This nigga's he's speed, man. Grape. Yeah, the hard, yeah. Murder. Filicide. Potential filicide, murdering of one's child. Attempted. He definitely has an attempted charge on that. Attempted. What else? There's attempted. There's second degree, third degree. There's probably an arson charge in there because he's pretty. I doubt a nigga like that wouldn't get into burning stuff as well. Arson, cannibalism, and finally, I think just to tie this whole knot onto the freaky shit, I think we should charge him with the same thing they charged Diddy with. We should charge him weed. You know what? Every government just needs to charge this nigga, and we'll just, when we find him alive in Argentina or something, yeah. Because at this point, if a nigga like this can die, anyone can die. Yeah? We need to charge him with the same thing that we charged Diddy with, which is the Mann Act. I'm pretty sure Diddy's being charged with the Mann Act, unless I heard it wrong. But the simple act of traveling a girl through borders in order to solicit sex, that's what the Mann Act, because you're basically treating them like a prostitute, and the law is saying you're a prostitute, like blur the lines of it. But that's what we should do. We should charge him with this, and we should just call this whole saga of the world. You know, why the hell not? Let's just charge him on a Friday and call it Freaky Friday. Let's charge him on a Friday and call it Freaky Friday. I think that. Oh, that would be...
Men, allegedly. It's vile. It arguably goes to maybe even like a grooming kind of thing, too. You know, I'm only looking out for you. But how about this one? A riddle that, honestly, you're not going to soon forget. So it's written to Jeffrey Epstein, April 29th, 2013. What is greater than God, more evil than devil? Reach, need it, poor have it, and if you eat it, you will die. Nothing. What is it? And the email in this conversation at one point back is, or your bleep, meaning female genitalia, either way.
The answer was nothing. Wait, let me read it. What's greater than more evil than the devil? Yeah, nothing's greater. This nigga can't even spell. Nothing is greater than God. Nothing is more evil than the devil. You know, Jeffrey Epstein said he has a good mirror. He didn't actually say he's the devil. I think that's his Molak Bao. Yeah, Molak Bao from the Elder Scrolls is helping this nigga. I put my money on it. I put my money. Molak Bao from the Elder Scrolls is helping this nigga. I'm telling you, he's helping this nigga. Yeah, he has a lineup of Molak Bao. If Molak Bao ever leaves him, he's going straight to Mehruz Dagon. And when Mehruz Dagon leaves him, he's going to. I don't even think Shay Goroff is just like he's not even fucking. This nigga is Jiggalag incarnate. This is the second. If you've ever played Oblivion, this is Jiggalag. He is organized. We don't know how we killed him, but we did. What did he call that when that nigga came back? The Grey March. This nigga's gonna come back in the Grey March. I'm telling you.
If you eat it, you will die. What is it?
Nothing. The poor have it. The poor don't have anything. They have nothing. The rich need nothing. If you eat nothing, you die. Yeah, that's...
An email in this conversation at one point back is, or your bleep, meaning female genitalia, either works. And this person writes back, ha ha ha, great answer, I like it, but poor don't have my bleep. How about this one? Actually, I think this one is important in a sex trafficking context, okay? So this is from Jeffrey Epstein to, again, an unidentified individual. Okay, now it's time to send me great sexy photos, no excuses. Person writes back, you will be receiving at least one sexy photo every single day until the day I see you in New York in the end of October. First one soon to come, with a wink face. And this is important. Epstein writes back, your trip will depend on how sexy they are. Okay. So in a sex trafficking case, the prosecution would need to prove that the defendant enticed or recruited a victim to engage in sex acts. It's kind of commercial sex, right? So if you reward somebody or you promise something of value to get sex, those are key elements, key evidence in this kind of criminal case. So sexy photos in exchange for a trip, maybe the argument could be, hey, it was just tongue in cheek, maybe he was joking, but you could see how prosecutors could say that is evidence of sex trafficking, or maybe just something to think about. By the way, just talking gross for a second, I gotta mention Peter Attia. This is the anti-aging influencer. You've probably seen him on social media. Recently appointed contributor at CBS News, although it does become a question about his role at that company moving forward. He was mentioned almost 2,000 times in the Epstein files, the newly released Epstein files, specifically emails between him and Epstein from 2015 to 2018. And I'm not gonna lie, they're really, really disgusting. Attia wrote in one email to Epstein in February of 2016 that a woman's private part is, quote, low carb. Added, still awaiting results on gluten content, though. How about this email dated?
Oh my fucking god. This nigga's eating people and talk about some low carbs. Oh my fucking god. This guy's... He's just... I'm not gonna say the word until late in my career. I'm not gonna say the word until late in my career, bro. But we all know exactly why I think this nigga is low carbs. What are you even talking about? But basically, this nigga has just been talking to escorts. We've racked up his charges. This guy's like 12 charges, and the worst of them right now is high treason, I'm pretty sure. If he's caught being an agent for like Mossad. He's just freaky. So far, children Onani is... I don't even think he's been talking... He hasn't talked about youths. He actually hasn't. He's not talked about youths. It's only prostitution. Like, he has an issue. He has an issue at this point. Folks just be streaming anything. Bro, I'm bringing conspiracy to the people. This is a conspiracy. The people must know. By the people, for the people, to the people. I keep on forgetting the quote. Abraham Lincoln. This is for the people.
June 24th, 2015, with the subject line, got a fresh shipment, where Attia seemingly writes, the biggest problem with becoming friends with you, the life you lead is so outrageous, and yet I can't tell a soul. Kind of chilling when you think about Epstein and the fact that he was, again, brought up on federal sex trafficking charges of minors, accused of abusing minors for years. But Attia went on the defensive. He wrote a long response on X, reads in part, reading that exchange now is very embarrassing, and I will not defend it. I'm ashamed of myself for everything about this. At the time, I understood this exchange as juvenile, not a reference to anything dark or harmful. He added that he did not participate in any criminal activity. He also added that he was, quote, never on his plane, never on his island, and never present at any sex parties.
See, this is what these niggas do. As soon as they caught, they said, I never went on the plane, never went on the island, never went to the sex parties. in my head, what I hear is, I went to the sex parties, I went to the island, and I was on the plane. I was actually in the front seat. The pilot told me to come up to the front and watch him drive like I was a little kid. You've been cool. You've been cool. No one's getting caught for this. Let's be honest, people. At this point in time, it doesn't look like anyone's going to be caught to this. They're not handing out purple books. No one in different countries are being extradited to face the crimes for what they did with Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew's not going to face any consequences, it looks like. Mendelssohn, the only consequence this nigga's facing is losing his job. He has money. He's not really facing consequences, is he? He's just losing a bit of power. Even then, he can still play shadow power. Just say you went on the plane and the island and the parties, and we can just, yeah. At this point, don't insult my intelligence. You know, we know everything Diddy did, and he only got 4 months. Yeah, bro, Diddy got like 50 months? Got like 50 months, yeah. Got 50 months. Whoop-de-doo. He's going to be back doing the same shit again, and it's just, what are we doing?
I will say Atiyah stepped down from his role as chief science officer at the snack bar company David Protein. It was also reported that a 60-minute segment that he was featured on has been pulled. And again, no word at the time of this recording on the future of his association with CBS.
Well,
but we'll
money
see.
really
Oh,
does
this
run
one
well.
was a surprising
All
one.
you need
Didn't
is
expect
money.
this. In the Epstein files, there was a reference to Diddy. Yeah,
Oh.
connection to another major federal sex crimes defendant in recent history, P. Diddy. So this was from somebody.
Sonic and Shadow. These two are like these Sonic and Shadow.
Identified to Jeffrey Epstein, January 1st, 2013. How are you feeling? We were invited to Ike Batista boat on the 2nd, went to P. Daddy party, met some interesting PPL people. Didn't see Elon though. Miss you, kiss.
Who is let's be real, Diddy was a horny guy who abused his chick. You see that in the ends, bro, so much, but he's definitely not in the same category. You know what? If I'm being honest, I always wrong with this. There's 2,000 people in this world who are normal, and the rest of us are just we're just fucked. 2,000 people in this world are quote unquote, no, 2,000 people in this world are unnormal in the sense that they lead what everyone thinks is a normal life. The rest of us lead what we call a normal life, but in the background we do some devious things. He abused chicks and killed people and was horny. Now, I hear what he's saying. He's saying like, oh, what's cool? He's saying Diddy's crimes are terrible, but a lot of everyday people have also committed the crimes in compared to the capacity of which Epstein has been able to commit the crimes. Fair, that's a fair line of thinking as well. But I believe Diddy and Epstein are the same. They're the same two people. Because a lot of people, make no mistake, a lot of people, me, you, everyone knows. They know them. They may be friends with them, acquaintances. A lot of people, if they were to have the same amount of power and pull as Epstein, will probably be on some Epstein shit. Like, it's not a matter of who you are, really, at this point, the way I'm looking at it. It's a matter of what do you do when you get money. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And the true measure of a man is shown when no one's watching. If Diddy had the same amount of money as Epstein, he'd be doing the same thing as Epstein. Facts. No one could tell me that's not true. Unless if Diddy's genuine fucking idiot. And he decides not to play the government. Different governments on both sides. But, bro. Epstein is the scapegoat. Yeah, bro. Oh, this guy knows. This guy knows. Bro, there's no way Epstein was cool and he's the head honcho. There's no fucking way. Because how do you catch the head guy? How do you catch that? Unless if he's pulled, but I've paused a lot, but I don't know how long this video is going to be on YouTube. But unless if he's pulled the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled. Let me gather my words. Let me say this all in one without starting. The greatest trick that devil ever proved was fuck. Let's see, instance.
The greatest trick the devil ever performed was tricking the world into believing he didn't exist.
That's what Diddy's done here. That's what Diddy has potentially. This. If Diddy's not the head honcho, no, if Diddy is the head honcho and he just he has to fake the death, but I believe he's not the head honcho. People have thrown him to the wolves. The high ups have thrown him to the wolves and said, "Here, have your go. Let the people eat. Let the people believe they have freedom. Let the people believe they've gotten their villain, while we just standing back, shadows." I'm crying, bro. It's emailing state. It's like a rattlesnake. You watch from the back of the snake because it's a rattle. But you always miss the head. Exactly. You're always focusing on the moving part. You're never focusing on the one that stays still, the one that stays in the shadow, the one that only strikes when the time is right. You always focus on the distraction. The things you shouldn't be focusing on. Diddy, my Somali brother, though.
2013, lot to break down here. To be clear, going to a Diddy party doesn't mean you were part of criminal activity or knew about it, but those parties came under a lot of scrutiny after Diddy was hit with over 50 lawsuits claiming sexual abuse and then charged with federal sex trafficking, racketeering, and prostitution counts. He was ultimately acquitted of the most serious charges at his very publicized trial, but he was convicted of transportation to engage in prostitution. He's currently in prison. But the Elon thing is interesting too, though, okay? Because assuming we're talking Elon Musk, I mean, I don't know another Elon that would come into play here. But Elon Musk emails 2012, 2013, there were emails where it seemed to suggest the two were trying to meet up, him and Epstein. For example, December 2013, we'll be in the BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays. Is there a good time to visit? And then there was a response from JEE Vacation. I will send heli for you, seemingly a helicopter. Actually, I could fly back early on the 3rd. We will be in St. Bart's. When should we head to your island? On the 2nd? Did we need to organize Elon to your island on January 2nd? And Musk appeared to ask Epstein in one email, what day or night will be the wildest party on your island? Now, it doesn't appear that ever happened, that he visited. In fact, Musk had previously tweeted that Epstein was a creep, that he tried repeatedly to get him to visit the island. He always declined. And Musk also responded more recently on X that no one pushed harder than me to have the Epstein files released. And I'm glad that has finally happened. I had very little correspondence with Epstein and declined repeated invitations to go to his island or fly on his Lolita Express. He was well aware that some email correspondence with him could be misinterpreted and used by detractors to smear my name. Okay, the next one I want to get into is something that's tied to a recent episode of Sidebar we did. There is a message from Corinna to Epstein, okay? And there are links in this email to very graphic pornography sites. Now, why is this important? It's from September 2012. Why is this important? As we reported, Corinna Shuliak, if this is really her, she's really sending this email, Corinna Shuliak appears to be Epstein's secret girlfriend. The person that he planned to leave the bulk of his fortune, $100 million, and properties to when he died. She apparently spoke to him 20 minutes the night before he died. The person that he planned to leave the bulk of his fortune, $100 million, and properties to when he died. She apparently spoke to him 20 minutes the night before he died. There was even evidence that he was contemplating marrying her. Now, on one hand, couples sharing porn or engaging in private sexual conduct or behavior, whatever, each their own. But on the other hand, you can see why this looks weird, right? Considering who Epstein was. Now, she has never been formally accused of wrongdoing or charged with a crime, but just something I have to mention here with this email. By the way, big thing in the Epstein or charged with a crime, but just something I have to mention here with this email. By the way, big thing in the Epstein files release was his...
I can't lie, guys. Do we not think this guy has a daughter? I'm just going to say, do we not think this guy has a daughter? Or a son? Something like that. Bro, I got the worst cramp of my life. I don't want to move an inch. Power through, bro. You're a man. She's the dead kid of his story. He definitely has kids. Island boys. I'm the island boys. He probably has tons of them. Bro, at least the kids he didn't eat.
Connection to the rich, the powerful, the notorious. And a name that constantly pops up, and an email that's very disturbing regarding him, is Woody Allen. Former neighbor. Just got to call out this email. So creepy. So Epstein seems to joke about being accused of going to a pedophile convention when he was going to visit Paris with director Woody Allen, writing this in 2012. So this was an email back to someone who said to Epstein, like asking, I guess as a joke, "Le pedophile convention?" And Epstein writes back, "I think pedophile is the plural." It's weird. It's not even like he's denying it. It's just strange. Now I got to go to this. This has been making it even like he's denying.
Redacted name. Oh, these redactions are just gonna make it seem like it's someone of significance, of power.
It's just strange. Now I got to go to this. This has been making a ton of news. So another disturbing email in this list is a reported exchange between Epstein and Peter Mandelson. This is a prominent British politician, former diplomat, UK ambassador to Washington at one point, causing a lot of uproar. So this exchange from 2009 allegedly surrounds Epstein's release from prison after serving 13 of his 18-month sentence, again, on those charges of solicitation of prostitution and of solicitation of prostitution of a minor. And here's how that went. So this is from Jeffrey Epstein, July 22nd, 2009. He writes him, or allegedly writes Mandelson, "Free and home." Mandelson seemingly writes back, "How shall we celebrate?" Epstein responds, "With grace and modesty. Those are the names of two strippers." Okay. Then Mandelson writes at another point, "How is freedom feeling?" And Epstein writes back, "She feels fresh, firm, and creamy." And then this is the big one. This is allegedly from Mandelson to Epstein. In response, he writes back, "Naughty boy." By the way, just 2 days ago, London officials announced that they are launching a criminal investigation against Mandelson on the same day that he resigned from his seat in Britain's parliament.
It would be crazy if this guy, Peter Mandelson, is the UK Diddy. You know, I think that would be so crazy. Jiffy always has the same expression on his face, bro. He always has that fucking pout face or some shit like that. He's so odd. He's so odd.
And while the announcement didn't name him specifically, it did reference a 72-year-old man, a former government minister, for misconduct in public office offenses. So we'll see where that goes. By the way, back in September, Mandelson was fired from his job as the UK ambassador to the United States after there was more context put to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And I will tell you, this email sure doesn't help. I also want to talk about another big figure, Peggy Siegel. Big publicist, okay? She was a known Epstein associate, so in one sense it wasn't new her name was coming up in the Epstein files. And I'll tell you, something happened though. An email came out I gotta mention. To give you a little context about who she is though, Tina Brown from the Daily Beast penned an opinion piece the other day. It was titled "How the Epstein Files Exposed His Fixers' Plot to Neutralize Me," referring to Siegel. And it was about how Siegel had...
Is it Benny? My bad, guys. My bad.
Benny Siegel, oh yeah. Bugsy Siegel. Let's see. Any relation? Any relation? No relation. I'm not gonna type it out just in case. There's no relation there. Would be crazy if there is.
Benny the Bean. Bro, stop. Bro, it happens every time I press the down button.
Had seemingly tried to do damage control for Jeffrey Epstein when all these allegations were coming out. For instance, Brown says that back in 2010, when she was editor of the Daily Beast, Siegel had asked her to a then Prince Andrew dinner that was hosted by Jeffrey Epstein, and apparently Charlie Rose was there and Woody Allen was there. And Brown allegedly says to Siegel, quote, "What the is this, Peggy? The pedophiles ball?" And Siegel allegedly responded, "All that Epstein stuff being so overblown." Now she goes on to describe how the Epstein files released this week shows how much of a PR panic Epstein and Siegel were in. I say all that to give you background to point out this email, okay? Really something else. Okay, so this is from apparently Peggy Siegel to jeevacation@gmail.com, so we assume Jeffrey Epstein. This is dated December 18th, 2009. So the subject line is Kenya, okay? On the plane now with Maddie, we're about to take off for Amsterdam to Nairobi. We land the morning of the 19th in Amsterdam and late evening of the 19th in Nairobi. On Sunday morning, we fly into the bush to Cotter's Camp in the Masai Mara, then to Sasab in 24th, 26th, then on the 26th to Lamu to Paponi Hotel.
What the hell
and
they
back
doing in Nairobi?
January 4th.
They don't like black people.
We cannot thank you enough. Yet another life experience. If the Maasai warriors don't eat us, the pirates from Somalia will. Coming to PB to see you in January, taking photos, we'll have a ball, and think of you all the time. Now, this is the part that's really, really troublesome. Can bring a little baby back for you or two, boys or girls. So Madonna. Another one I want to highlight. This one's just bizarre, disturbing. From Jeffrey Epstein to somebody that we don't know. January 9th, 2012. So there's this message from jeevacation@gmail.com. We assume Jeffrey Epstein.
He said, I wouldn't mind living there if it wasn't a pedo hangout. I don't think anyone would mind living in their own personal island. But the way this guy was building this island, oh, bro, you can't stop that nigga. You can't stop him freaking. You couldn't pay him to stop freaking. There was no amount of money in this world that would make him stop freaking, which is crazy. Bro, he hated Somali. Bro, he hated niggas, bro. Did you not see the emails? One of the emails he said, bro, no blacks. No negro. No negro. Nunca. Nunca.
Epstein. It is dated January 9th, 2012. Do you want to come see me today, tomorrow? We'll come at 10. There's an email from someone that says, yes, Jeffrey, I will be glad to see you. And I dream of learning this Jeffrey, let's just say, technique from you. LOL, if you don't mind teaching again. My childhood friend from Moscow visits me here for 3 days. We are friends since 7 years old. We are having a dinner after work with and him. Do you mind if we come all together to see you so you could see what the gilded youth from Moscow is like nowadays? He is very quiet and cute. And the response back from Epstein is, not tonight. I have people here, Terry from the UN for you, and redacted. Okay, so the first thing that stands out to me about this.
You know what? Every time I see redacted, I'm going to say, every time I see the redacted, I'm going to say, what's it called? Oh, yeah, it's either, it has to be like Mendelssohn. It has, if I'm being honest, with all of these, like all of these dates you're giving, there's someone crazy enough to cross-reference every time a major person was in these countries at the same time as Epstein and had direct links to Epstein. You could probably find out all this information. But the way they break up these sentences with these redactions, that's just leaves empty sentences. It's crazy. Because we can all infer what they're gonna say, but at the end of the day, we don't know what they're saying. We can think he's talking about butter, but this next man's talking about fucking paste or something. I don't know.
Is Epstein's connection to powerful people. I think we can assume, we don't know for sure, but that he was referring to Terry Rod Larson. Guy worked in the UN. The International Peace Institute had actually announced that he had apologized to the board, that he had to resign as the president and the CEO because of his connection to Epstein. And aside from this just being a really creepy conversation and this idea of alleged grooming, right, teaching, sex acts, all that, any mention of Moscow is really interesting. Why? We highlighted this in a previous episode, but there has been further speculation, particularly after this document release, that Epstein was a Russian asset or a Russian spy. Now, to be clear, there's no definitive proof of that, but clearly, and we talked about this in a previous sidebar, there is clearly a lot of communication over trying to meet with Putin, and a conversation over trying to get a Russian visa and offering advice to Russian officials and so forth. So interesting anytime you see that, because there was an allegation that he was trafficking Russian girls and women as part of this alleged sex trafficking empire. Just something to think about. But there you have it, okay? Could I go on for another hour with disgusting emails? Sure, but I'm going to spare you that. I don't think anybody wants to hear that. You get the idea of not only how very dirty this stuff is, but how telling it is, how compelling this potential evidence could have been.
I call out this nigga. He did a lot of bad stuff, but this nigga is genuinely a resident aura farmer. He is a resident aura farmer. All he does is farm aura. Who told him to take that photo? Let's ask the question. Who genuinely told him to take that photo? No one told that nigga to take that photo. And what the hell is that in the background?
This stuff is.
I don't know what that is in the background. The camera, at least. That's a newborn baby, is it not? Right here. Something's telling me that's a newborn baby. The way it's framed, the way this goes here, and it looks like there's a teat in its mouth, a pacifier. That has to be a baby.
I cannot tell you what in God's name what this is. It's the bit rate is messing me up. But I'm confident that's a baby. The one in the back is worse. What is it? That looks like a cat portrait. Where? It's a kid laid down. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Bro, listen. Child parents have so much aura, right, bro? Tell me this isn't an aura pick right here. Tell me this is an aura. He does not have to do this. He genuinely does not have to do all of this. He's not even looking at the MacBook. Is off. It's off. He's not looking at shit. You did this for the cams. You're digging your grave, my guy. Guys don't know aura when they see aura. They don't know a resident aura farmer when they see a resident aura farmer. But anyways, aside from that, yeah, we know what this is. So this partially, if this is actually a child, this has to be his child.
But how telling it is, how compelling this potential evidence could have been in a case against Jeffrey Epstein. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check us out on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern.